The following audio, brought to you by TSF Entertainment Podcast, may contain graphic descriptions of violence and or audio clips of violence or sexual explicit events. Listener's discretion is advised.
What's good, TSF Entertainment Podcast fans? It's your boy, the JUGGERNAUTOFSOLES, and we are back in this thing with the TSF family. Everybody introduce yourselves.
Yo, what's up? It's RETROCG.
REALLYBTV.
It's JACKOFJORDANS. We in the building even when we outside, and yes, I have my cup today.
Nice.
Yo, so tonight we are talking about Power Book 3, Raising Kanan, Season 1, Episode 5, Choose Your Battles. Great episode, guys. What y'all think?
Excellent.
It was an excellent episode. Yeah, it was a really good episode.
Spectacular.
I agree.
But again, why this nigga name got to be Marvin?
Oh, God.
Damn.
We got a lot to talk about tonight. We got a lot to talk about, Marvin, and unfortunately, you're going to be a
focal point,
ongoing topic.
I'm gonna be the target tonight.
So the episode kicks off with Kanan in the room getting dressed for the day, and he's kind of like, trying to figure out what shoes he want to put on, matches Georgetown jersey or whatever. He ended up going with the Forces.
Yes, the Uptowns is what they call them in New York.
Yep, he went up and put the Uptowns on. So he goes downstairs and gets ready, I guess, to go to school or whatever the case may be. And what do he find? Well, first, let's go back to the shoes for a second, because as he was lacing them up, he saw a spot of blood on the shoe. So that kind of goes back to what you were saying last week, DJ, about sloppiness. Like Marvin shouldn't have even sent him home with them clothes on.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, not at all.
He shouldn't have been sent home with them clothes on and them shoes and everything with evidence. But he gets a napkin, he wipes the blood off, and he looks at it. And I guess, he's kind of thinking back to, what happened at the stash house. He get downstairs, and Rock, she got the shirt that he had on that he had stuffed up under the bed on the table. And she's pretty much like, I've been sitting on this for a couple of days. I had found it, put it back, and, just waiting to see if you're going to come to me and tell me what's up. And, she's pissed.
Right? Oh, yeah, she was hot.
So what y'all think about all that?
I'm
surprised she sat on it as long as she did, because I thought she would have confronted him, instantly about it.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be an instant confrontation when she found the shirt. I think personally, it was a great beginning to how it started. He woke up, and it was just kind of like nonchalant, like, man, let me get ready for school. So you kind of seeing like these two egos that he had. He got up Saturday morning because this was Saturday school, and he just basically getting up, getting ready, and then he had the whole juice thing going on. You got your line of shoes there, and he deciding which ones to put on and hit the mirror. Nah, these ain't good. Then he grabbed the Uptowns, threw those on. Like you said, he had the blood. I think it was the beginning was dope. I think that Rock, probably should have confronted him sooner, but again, I think she's playing off the trust factor to see, even though she know that's her family, who's going to come to me and tell me what? And I think that's what she pretty much was pissed about, besides he's in the life, but he didn't tell her. But now she knows, like, oh shit, he's in the life, he's alive, this is not his blood, so what the hell is going on?
Well, I can appreciate. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, really be.
No, I was just gonna say I can appreciate. We were saying earlier that I can appreciate that they're not dragging this stuff on. Like she says, "Hey, I waited a few days because I wanted to see if you would come clean." Like I can appreciate that they're not. They don't have to make us relive every single scene because we already know what it is. Like we didn't need to see Marvin come up with the bullshit and tell Raquel what happened at the stash house. Like we know what happened. We saw what happened. Fuck it. You know what I mean? So I can appreciate that.
Right. But did Marvin really tell? She said something that kind of made me curious. She said, she said, Marvin have already told me what happened. So you can spare me the bullshit.
But see, last episode he had said that, I'll take care of all this. Because remember, Kanan was like, I'm going to be dead either way. When my mom found out, he was like, she ain't going to find out shit. I'll take care of all this. We're going to clean this up. We're going to get you home. She ain't going to know shit. So, of course, he had to tell her about the stash house getting hit. But, he left out as we get further on in the episode, we find out that he left out what he thinks was the small details about Kanan being there. He went and gave her his version of the story, but he didn't include the fact that Kanan was there. So I think
Raquel was just trying to set him up to get him to admit it.
Exactly.
Like she said, I know you were there. Like I figured it out. And I think her saying, your uncle already told me, I think that was her way of trying to see what Keena would say.
Right.
I think they were just measuring the level of trust,
It is. Right. And that's what I said. Like, Kanan pretty much came clean on everything. Detail for detail from 1 second to 20 minutes, however long the situation took place.
It was a lie, but it was he lied about it. But
I wouldn't necessarily say it was a lie. It was more so just withholding the truth. You didn't tell the full truth. You told part of it. It's like you told half of the story, but you didn't tell the most important part of the story.
Yeah.
So we switch to the next scene. You got Detective Howard and Bert. They're arriving at the crime scene, which is the old stash house. And we also see here where Marvin didn't do such a good job cleaning up the stash house. I mean, you left way too much evidence behind. I feel like if this was
key evidence.
DNA.
Right.
You left DNA. Exactly. You left DNA there.
You left DNA there. I mean, it kind of takes me back to Power when Tariq had killed Ray Ray, and Ghost and Tommy, they was in there instantly. The first thing they started doing was cleaning up the crime scene, picking up the shell cases, and they needed to get rid of the rug with the blood and stuff on it. Like, you leave evidence that a murder took place. Yeah, true enough, you didn't leave the body behind, but you still left enough evidence to know that a murder took place here.
Exactly.
Right.
Blood on the floor, throw up. I mean, come on. And then you left remnants behind that this was a stash house. So quite naturally, Detective Howard doesn't even need to look any further to know. There's only two main drug outfits here in the town. So we know it's not Unique's operation because you just rolled them up last week. So obviously the next process of elimination says, oh yeah, this is Raquel's old spot.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So Marvin did a very sloppy job cleaning up the crime scene. I don't feel like he had enough time because they said that the neighbors had called and reported a loud crash and gunfire, but yet they didn't see anything. So, he had a lot to get rid of too at the same time by himself. He had to get rid of a body, his smashed up car, clean out the rest of the stash house, get Kanan home. So Marvin was a little busy.
Right. And I find it interesting that that's all the neighbors said with everything that went on. Like you said, they had a whole car crash and shootout in front of the house, and they were like, yeah, we just heard some noise.
Yeah, we heard some noise.
Right. We didn't see anything. We
didn't see that candy apple red Mercedes Benz in front of the house crashed up. No, we didn't see none of that.
Hey, how it go. We see nothing.
But then it kind of goes back. If you look at that era of time versus this era of time, when you were in a neighborhood that had violence, drugs, and everything like that, if you heard gunshots, you got the fuck on the floor. You didn't even go. Nowadays, people gonna go look, pop them blinds, pop them blinds open. Right, pop them blinds open, and they looking out. They got their phone or whatever. Right, they got their phone or whatever now or whatever. Back then, you heard gunshots, like CG said. you either getting down, or if you did see something, hell, you a Stevie Wonder because you ain't want none of that recourse.
Exactly.
Nope.
Exactly.
Nope, not at all. Oh, I'm not saying that the neighbors did anything wrong. They were supposed to not say anything, but I just thought
Right.
it was funny that everything we saw, that's all they told the police. Like, yeah, somebody, we heard a gunshot.
We heard a gun. We heard a gunshot in a car crash. That was all.
Right, like dude straight up had ski mask and busted down the front door. Like, it was a whole
Shot
lot
down
that
the front
happened.
door. Yeah, shot
Right,
down the front
Right.
door.
Shot down the front door.
Right, a whole lot happened.
A lot happened. So we get back to Raquel's house, and the brothers and Raquel, they're over to her house. They're having breakfast, and they're kind of Marvin is kind of talking about the stash house getting hit, and he's playing up how he took out all the people that was at the stash house that was robbing them and whatever, and he's exaggerating the details. Raquel's
Like
just
Soulja
shaking
Boy.
her head. Yeah. Raquel just shaking her head like this dumb idiot right here. And basically, she called him on his bullshit. She was like, "Oh yeah." She's like, "Well, why you didn't tell me that Kane was there?" He instantly starts.
Yeah, she said what she say? You didn't tell me the basic details. He said, I thought I told you the basic details. Like what? You didn't tell her son was there.
Right.
And she was like, "That's not part of the basics." And then you instantly see Lulu look at him with like this disgusted, disappointed look on his face, and he's just like shake his head.
You stupid muff.
Like, damn, Mom,
Yeah,
you always into something.
Lulu was hilarious. I mean, he was wrong, but hilarious all at the same time. Because the look he gave him was like, "You dumb nigga!" Like, he's stupid.
But she pretty much confronted him about it, and even then, he could have just went ahead and came clean about the whole situation. But she's frustrated at this point because now my brother is lying to me, my son is lying to me. She's like, I just ain't got the energy or the strength to deal with neither one of you with this right now.
She about to go to war.
With. Yeah,
right. She about to go. She trying to deal with a war. She trying to make sure she get. She got hit with her stash. Like, she got a lot going on.
Yeah, she got a lot going on. She ain't got time to sit here and deal with this internal bullshit that's unnecessary. All this was just totally unnecessary. And even though we want to put all the blame on Marvin, it really isn't his fault. It's more Kanan's fault than anything. But Marvin, being the adult in the situation and being what he is in the organization, didn't handle it the right way either. So, she's just like, telling Lulu about, how he's always fucking up, and he either just don't care what I have to say or he not listening. Which one is it?
Right. Emma, he looked at him like, you are stupid.
And you can see right here,
it's a
Marvin
combination
was
of
getting a little
both.
irritated with Lulu because he was like, Lulu don't never really have his back. He's always on Raquel's side. He's kind of always agreeing or co-signing.
Yes,
Raquel.
man.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna call him a yes man, but yeah, pretty much.
I think he just agreed with what's right.
That's where I want to.
Yeah, he do. Yeah. He do.
That's what I want more towards.
Yeah, more so than anything.
Yeah.
Right. And I think, and again, it goes back to what we got a glimpse of when they got into that argument. There's a history there where I feel like Lulu doesn't have any respect for Marvin.
Or has lost what respect he did have for him. Right.
Right. Yeah. So I think that's part of what we're seeing is, okay, he just doesn't have any respect for his brother. So,
or is it a bit of just sibling rivalry?
Well, I think it could be both, but I think more so when he was sitting at the table reading that studio magazine, he was just like, my brother Marvin had Kanan in a stash house with a gun to his head, and he left. He kind of like chuckled and shook his head.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, he was
taunting him a little bit. He was kind of like, patronizing him a little bit, like, Like, right. Yeah, I know what I did. I don't need you to sit here and put your spin on it, whatever. I don't need this right now. I just got cussed out by my sister. I got shit on my head too. Like, I don't need you sitting here, putting jumper cables on the situation. So that kind of irritated Marvin too, because he was like, damn, ain't nobody never got my back.
Yeah.
Right. And question, and did y'all catch when she said, and clean this shit up, because I always got to clean up behind your sloppy ass? Now, I kind of took that as low key as a subliminal. And correct me if I'm wrong, because look how he left the fucking stash house.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so is it like, did y'all get the vibe when she said that, like, somebody had already told her that stash house had DNA all over the fucking place? Her son fucking
don't went over
bombed.
there and saw the shit. She probably don't went over there and saw the shit, or at the very least know how Marvin operates and know that if all this went down, I'm quite sure that this is another mess that's gonna come back on us, or this is another problem.
Yeah, it was probably literal and figuratively, you know, a dig. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
I agree. But there's a bit of dichotomy in this, because at the end of the day, it's kind of like what me and you were talking about earlier, CP. You get what you pay for, so to speak. You know how Marvin operates. You know that 9 times out of 10, he's going to make a problem even a bigger problem. So, but yet you keep calling on him for support.
You can't get Marvin. You can't get Marvin $10. Tell him spend $1 and bring back $9. This motherfucker gonna bring you back $8.75.
Yeah, but I think honestly, I think Marvin is still around though, because he is family. Like that's
yeah.
Because I mean that's a testament to they do still look out for their family. Like, because for real, Marvin's supposed to have been gone. I mean, I'm not even saying, like, I know that the stash house situation was not all on him, but like you said, the sloppiness and how he cleaned it up, you know, just even like other stuff, the fact that they don't even include him in the important shit, like that just tells you that they really just taking care of him because he's family.
He's never part of the decision making or the process. He's just kind of behind the scenes. And, you know, but that's, again, part of her own fault, because she should never sit Marvin over there.
I was about to say, they just need to decrease his workload. You know, he has a specific... For real, they just got to decrease it. Yeah, you got a specific skill set. This is all you do.
Hey, that one was good. That one was good, Jack and Jordan.
All you do is come in and whoop ass when I say whoop ass and where I say whoop ass.
He need to have
well, she did. Well, she did tell him that. She did tell him that sitting at the table. She said, don't, she said, we about to go on offense, not war, but I want to know what Neek is thinking. She said, and don't you do nothing. I'm already on that. So basically she telling him like, nah, you sit your ass still. You fucking dead enough.
That's all he need to do though. He just need to, like, when it's time to put in like the heavy work, yeah, that's what you do. That he need a job where he doesn't have to think at all. I know it sounds simple. Hey, go to the stash house. Simply move it over here. How hard could it possibly be, right?
He gave him ACG. She gave Marvin that dollar bill. All you do is spin records. That's all you do.
But all he need to do is this is what he need to do. Marvin, break his jaw. And then that's it. He breaks his jaw, and then that's it.
That's all he's good for.
That's all he can do.
So we get to the class, Kanan Saturday class with Symphony, and you know, he has a little project that he had to turn in. You know, we had to make a bridge, and you know, him and Symphony are, you know, kind of having a conversation about the history of the bridge and, you know, why it was built. And you know, Symphony is always putting knowledge on Kanan, and you know, he's always teaching even when he's not teaching. You know, he's passing knowledge on. And then they kind of have a moment of understanding, is what I want to call, because I don't necessarily want to say it was a truce, but I think in this moment, Kanan has now become comfortable with the fact that Symphony is going to be around. You know, you really like my mom, so you know, I think they have a moment of understanding. You know,
I agree
gives
with that.
him his number and says, "Yo, if you ever need me, call me. You know, I ain't trying to be your friend or anything like that, but you know, I'm around if you need me."
I agree with that. I think it was a moment of understanding and a moment of position where they stand at in Rock's life. That I really, you know, of course, Kanan is her son, but I think it was like a reflection of position too. Like, hey, look, I'm only here for XYZ. You know this. I know this. Okay, yeah, I know you her son. And that was pretty much that. I do like the commentary too, and that 50 is actually putting in there though. I do like that too.
I'm glad it's not consistent. You know, I said originally in the show that I wanted the narration to end after the first show, after he had introduced and set up the plot for all the characters that we had met. But I'm glad it's not consistent. I'm glad it's not every scene, every episode. You know, is every once in a while he'll pop in, he'll kind of shed some backstory on the scene or the person in the scene. You know, to kind of give us a little bit of backstory about the character. So that part, I can accept that. I just didn't want it to be where he's totally narrating the show the whole time. It would have just took away from the show. Instead of us learning the characters on our own, we're being told about the characters. So it's a good balance. It's a good balance. So I don't know where this is going to end. I don't know where this is going to end because he generally does seem to have interest in her and, you know, Kanan's well-being and everything. He seems like he's a really good dude. So I don't think that he's here for nefarious reasons. I see a lot of comments online about him being an undercover cop and this and this and that.
I don't get that.
Exactly. I don't either. I think this is exactly what we see him as. He's just a good dude. And, you know, he's trying to make the best of a situation. And one thing I like about his character so far is he hasn't gotten involved in their business. By now, he has to know. By now, he has to know that they're in the life because, you know.
No, he knew from the beginning. Remember when they met at the bar? He knew from the beginning who she was.
Yeah.
But he also said that he really didn't care. Like, before they... You know, they had that conversation. He was just like, well, you know, I can't remember exactly what they said verbatim, but she was like, you know, my line of business, whatever. Yeah, and it was like, it's not a problem. Yeah. And it was like, it ain't a problem for you, it ain't a problem for me.
And if he didn't know, Marvin told him, because Marvin told him, stay the fuck away from my sister.
Remember and he practically told Marvin to fuck off.
Right. Basically, talking about I'll beat your... What'd he say? I'll beat your ass. He said, I
bet you won't.
I bet you won't.
I bet you won't. That was weak.
He said Marvin on his way.
Yeah, he did. Fuck out of here.
Speaking of Marvin, so next scene, you got Marvin and Lulu leaving Raquel's house, and Marvin's kind of in his bag a little bit, because, you know, he makes a little comment as he's walking out the door. He's talking about y'all rocking all this secret shit and whatnot. And then, you know, that kind of opened the door for Lulu to kind of go in on him because he was like, we spent all this time trying to get out of the hood, and here she is trying to take us back to the hood. And he just kind of looked at him like, you idiot. If you would have kept your secrets a little more close before you wouldn't have did that bid in Elmira. And he was like, I got set up. And then he was like, yeah, but Marvin, what you doing now affects all of us. You know, it's me and everybody else, and we ain't trying to die or get killed or go to jail behind your bullshit. And so, you know, they kind of have a little words back and forth, but we learn a lot in this scene. We learn a lot in the scene. Well, first we learned that Marvin doesn't have respect for Lulu just as much as Lulu doesn't have respect for him. So I think it's a two-way factor because he called him you a fake ass Quincy Jones type shit. You know, that was a low blow. And, you know, Lulu kind of replied. His rebuttal was a low blow about,
what he said. He told Lulu, he said,
baby mother.
Fake ass.
He told Lulu that the only song that people be hearing is that Puerto Rican nigga fucking your bitch.
Yeah.
You'll
hear Crown Camacho.
Crown Camacho.
Like,
he said you're going to be singing a song. He said you're going to be singing a song about Crown Camacho fucking your bitch.
Yep.
Damn.
But then but his comeback was equally as lethal.
About his baby mama
leaving him for the NBA.
For the NBA nigga, right.
And then getting passed around.
And then getting passed around. Right.
So there's a lot to unpack with those comments.
Yeah, we found out that Marvin went to jail, which y'all might have known that, but I didn't know. Marvin went to jail.
He seemed like
we found out a little bit about Jukebox's mom, which we've been asking all season, where is she, what happened to her? So we still don't know if she's alive or dead or where she is, but we know a little bit about like that relationship, and Marvin sounded like he got his heart broken a little bit, or at least embarrassed.
So we know she a vixen from the 90s getting passed around by the NBA.
I think that comment told us exactly where she is right now. She's ho-hopping through the NBA right now. I think that's exactly what that comment was for. You know, okay. So again, we don't have 100% confirmation that she's alive or dead. I agree with you on that, CP. But I think that comment in itself leads us to believe that that's exactly what she's out. She's out here, you know, hopping from NBA player to NBA player, and Marvin probably got his heart broken. So this explains away why he feels the way he feels about women and affection and things like that. He's had his heart broken by her.
So it could be that and it could be he has some resentment toward Jukebox because he don't
because of her, right?
Because of her. You know how parents, these single parents, some single parents treat their kids because of who they parents are. You know, so
yeah, that's true.
That can really that.
So he doesn't have fairy tale life where he's raising a child by himself or whatever the case may be. So he got left with this. He inherited this. You know, this was not what he wanted.
Yeah, it sounds like that she probably like left the baby there. Maybe again, you know, putting 20 on 10. Maybe that's where we found out like why she was living with Rox for a while.
Right.
Maybe
especially
that's
if he was in jail.
Or while Marvin was in jail. Yeah.
Yeah, so they kind of put a story together without putting a story together.
Without even having to dig too far into it, you know, they gave us just enough for us to interpret, you know. And, you know, they start tussling because that's what it really was. It was a tussle between siblings or whatever. I still think Marvin got the best of Lulu.
Lulu needs to learn how to have some squabbles. You don't lead into a fight, duck down, trying to rush the man. You too far away from him.
I think because it was his brother, that's why he did that. I think if
and
it
they
was
really
somebody
didn't
else,
they gave body shots to
yeah. I think if it was somebody else, if it was the
ops,
it would have went a little different.
I mean, if it's my listen, I love my brother. He listened. If he listened to the podcast, he already know Big Bro would have punched him in his gut and gave him one to the head. I'm just gonna be honest. If we gonna fight, we gonna fight. I love you, but we gonna do this.
I think it was more so just Marvin asserting the fact that I am your big brother, so you know, stay in your place or whatever. Because I mean, both of them hit low, so I mean, both of them deserve the hands from each other. So both of them hit low. So I mean, it was nice to see the police roll through and then roll them up and take them in, whatever it is. Like, y'all don't make me get out this car. You know, they kind of broke up the little altercation or whatever, and they went their separate ways. And
over the intercom.
Yeah, and of course Marvin got to be petty and put a little dig in there still about he's getting ready to run off to his sister and get on the titty and whatever, and, you know.
But he said you're gonna be on the other one. Like
you're gonna be on the other one, baby.
Right. If I'm left, you right.
But you see, Marvin went got him a new whip though. Marvin went got him a blue Mercedes now.
Right.
You gotta re-up.
Yep. Quick.
But another question for you guys. Do that with that scene after the fight, you know, because like you said, CG, it wasn't really a fight. It was just kind of like a little tussle. I throw you around, you throw me around or whatever, and then we go back to, and then basically how the police came in and just said over the intercom, don't let us get out this car. I looked at that as one of the situations that the way Symphony was talking to Kanan, like they don't want to be in this neighborhood. So it's just like, why would we get out this car, get hurt, or deal with these two motherfuckers? Let them kill each other. You know, I mean, am I reading too much into that?
I think it was more so of this ain't too much of a big of a deal.
Yeah,
right. If I have to get out this car, it's really gonna be a big deal. So break this shit up, because if I get out, it's gonna be trouble.
And they probably know who they are. They probably know who they are.
Possibly, yeah.
You know, because this in the neighborhood. So, you know, they probably know who they are and know that they're brothers or whatever. And Marvin's probably known for a hothead and like the fight, because you remember he got rounded up at the fight at the club or whatever. So they probably know who they are or whatever. Like, yo, this ain't even worth our time right here. You know, break that shit up and go about y'all business. You know, nothing less.
That's what I got from it. I got like, bruh, I don't even have the energy to get out and deal with y'all.
Not for this.
Like, and especially if they know them, it's like, we know y'all brothers. Y'all gonna be friends tomorrow. Y'all gonna make like. Ain't nobody got the energy for this shit. Like, break it up and move on.
Not for this.
This ain't going
right. They got the juice.
Right.
They got the juice. You got the juice now. The police just ride past you fighting.
Right.
So we at the doctor's office now, and Detective Howard is meeting with his doctor. And we've learned here that he did contact some of the family members down south. We learned that they're in Montgomery, Alabama, and none of them were a match. He needs bone marrow. And so the doctor is pretty much telling him that, okay, they're not a match. We need to look for someone else to be a possible. So at this point, he's going in the bank now for a potential donor match. And, Detective Howard pretty much asked her, yo, is this some shit that I need to be getting my affairs in order? Or, how much long do I have? So.
And she was like, if we can't get you a bone marrow, it could, if we don't get
it's going to send you out of here.
But he seems resolved with the fact of his condition. He doesn't seem to be too pressed about it, or maybe I'm reading a little bit too much.
No, he didn't seem to.
He seems very resolved because she told him
seemed
stop
like
smoking.
Yeah.
She told him things that would prolong his condition from getting worse. Exercise, stop smoking, blah, 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 blah.
And he was just nonchalant about it.
When he leaves the office is light up a cigarette. So to me, he almost seems resolved with, what's going to happen. And I think most people come to that realization when they find out that they have a terminal illness or an illness that can lead to loss of life, and they've done everything they can, or there's nothing that can be done for them. I mean, at some point you have to make peace with that and treasure the time that you have left. So, yeah. I mean, what do y'all think his thoughts are?
I think his thoughts is, my days are numbered. Fuck it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I got it. I got it as, okay, so, because she didn't say, if you do all of these things,
you'll live
there's a
longer.
Possibility you can live. It was just basically, it will help you live longer. So I guess in his mind, okay, 6 months, a year, like if I'm dying, I'm dying. Like, basically, if I don't get a bone marrow, I'm going to die. So I can prolong it, but it's kind of like when, like you said, when somebody says you terminal, you got 6 months to live. That's usually when, people be like, well, fuck it then. I'm going to do everything I wanted to do. Yeah, you know what I mean? So I feel like that's kind of what it was. Like, okay, I stopped smoking, and then what? I still die in 6 months? I might as well just enjoy myself. Like, I think that's kind of the attitude, because if he checked all his family members and none of them are a match, then what more can he do?
I agree. So we're now over at the bodega, and the kids are all hanging out at the bodega. Well, they're not necessarily hanging out at the bodega. They probably just come through, get some snacks or whatever, and pass through. But in this, they kind of linger around and they're having conversations or whatever. You see Famous over there looking at a Playboy magazine. Jukebox and Kanan are kind of like talking about the stash house or whatever, which I thought that wasn't the appropriate venue to have that conversation.
Definitely wasn't.
Even though they didn't start dropping names until Famous big ass mouth got involved in the conversation, and Jukebox checked him real quick, and she was like, "Yo,"
I don't like Famous.
He was talking about how he's about to be put on right now, how he's about to have all the women on his dick and whatever, and she looking at him like, "You so stupid." She was like, and she reveals to them that she's lost her virginity. She knows how to please a woman, and and so Famous. This is where we learned that Famous is kind of like has a crush on
thing.
Jukebox,
a thing for Jukebox.
Right.
Am I the only one think it's weird that they didn't catch on that she was talking about a woman?
I thought so too.
Well,
right, because Kanan knew, but Famous was like, wait. Somebody else hit that before me.
But I don't give Famous, I don't give Famous a whole lot of credit for thinking outside of himself. Like, even with this whole situation with the studio and all that. So in his
I don't
mind,
like Famous' character.
Yeah, he was only thinking of how this affected him. I don't think he even paid attention to that part of it, because she even said, he was like, "Well, how would you know that?" And she said, "Because I am a woman. Like I know how, because I am a woman." And so I just think it was all about, because like even the way he started talking about her, and Kanan is looking at him like, "Yo, that's my cousin. Like watch yourself, nigga." You know what I mean? Like,
right?
Because he really was coming at her like she was some hoe.
Famous is kind of idiot.
Yeah, how dare you? Like, I was supposed to hit that first. Like, what?
Yeah, kind of an arrogant asshole.
He's very arrogant.
Yeah, like nobody owes you their ass. Like, you don't like what is he
right? That's what he was looking like.
Right, he was like He was all shocked in there. I was supposed to hit that first. Like what?
Like he was really mad. Like he was really mad.
Like he put in work and she owed back taxes or something. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I'm not really a big fan of Famous.
He's not gonna be around much longer, so
that I already know.
So you hear Jukebox. Jukebox is kind of talking to Kanan, and she's like, "I know you might not want to hear this, but you might want to look at your girl. Right. Your girl, she rolled with Buck 20. She was rolling with Buck 20. You know, she's got ties to Unique's crew. She came through the stash house, and then Famous stupid ass is going to come up and say, "Oh, you think Davina was the one who dimed out Rock's stash house?" All loud in front of the store. Granted, they were the only ones in there, but you see the little lady at the front counter, the wife, and you see she all beat up and bruised up. So she don't got
the domestic violence victim,
right?
Yeah,
but she was filing all that away. She was taking notes on every goddamn thing.
She sure was.
Said,
she absolutely was. And my thing is this: I was pissed off about that a couple of times because I felt like they would. First of all, why does Famous know about the stash house? Famous shouldn't even know nothing about it. That right. You know what I'm saying? Like that, Famous should know nothing about the fact that the stash house got hit. That's number one. Number two, you're right. They should absolutely not be having this conversation in front of everybody. Well, I mean, nobody else was at the store, but still, they should not be having this conversation out in public.
They shouldn't be, but they 15 and they 16.
Like, even when Kanan rolled up, I mean, I know that's later on, but even when Kanan did what he did, I was like,
and then in the middle of the street. The ironic part about it is the irony in it. You in the spot where your family knew business is at. Your family is doing business with these folks. So you are talking about their business in front of these folks and knowing that, well, not knowing, but your mom and your brother and your uncles and stuff, they don't even want these folks that far into their business.
Right.
And y'all having a full conversation.
I think that's gonna play into Rock's
it absolutely
favor.
Is. It absolutely
Rock's favor though, because
her ally,
I was gonna say that lady been beat up, and then her punk ass husband always trying to pull the shake down. You know,
he's stay trying to shake him down.
Yeah, I think personally that's gonna play into her favor.
Yeah,
because another thing that I really don't like about this, I guess I really don't like, or which is a head scratcher to me, is that Jukebox had enough knowledge to be like, hey, you know, check your girl, you know, Davina, because of what XYZ, but Kanan is so blinded by it that it didn't even cross his head. It didn't even cross his mind.
But that's what we're learning about Kanan. We're learning about Kanan. Him and Marvin are so much alike in that respect because both of them react off of their feelings and not think things through. Whereas Lulu and Jukebox are more so, they're going to think things through methodically. And like, yo, we've been rocking all this time. You know, we ain't never had no problems over the stash house. What changed? Oh, Kanan, you came around. That's one thing that changed. Two, you had this whole bitch over here to the stash house. Okay.
And Scrappy said something about it when he went to go talk to her.
Yep.
So how you go? So how is?
I think that's why he figured.
How does it not at least cross your mind? That could be a possibility, especially since she's been questioning you about the Buck 20 death for a minute now.
I think it did cross his mind when Scrappy mentioned it to him, like he dismissed it. But then again, Jukebox told him like, "Hey, yeah, you know, about the stash house." I think it's one of them guilt trip issues. Like, oh no, Scrappy was the one told because he know Davina was over there. He probably told my mama.
Well, it could be a little bit of part of that, and it also could be going back to what CP said. He's so enamored with this girl that he can't see past what he see for her. He can't see her as a threat. He can't see her as anything because in his mind, the whole issue with Buck.
So he's not ready.
Yeah.
And he's not ready to see it.
He's not ready to see it because he's sitting here lying to this girl, and because she doesn't believe what he's saying, she keeps asking him about it, and that should be a clue to him right there that I don't have her under control as much as I think I do.
He on that Ghost and Angie.
Right, and for him to come at Jukebox the way he did, he was foul for that. He was foul for that because you know your cousin, that's her job. She tried to put some knowledge in your motherfucking head, you dumb motherfucker. Because just like she was trying to tell him about the drugs or whatever, he brushed her off like she don't know what she's talking about. But obviously, she's been around the family a lot more closer to how the family moves than he has. So she's seen things and know things. We've seen that she's seen things that he hasn't seen and know about. And that's why she's trying to tell him that, the family. But what pissed me off when he made that comment to her is, what do you know about my family? And she looked at him like, your family is my family.
Yeah, because Jukebox is more she's more like to sit back and watch, and she like to soak up.
She's observant.
She don't get involved.
And
right,
speak on it to him.
She always wants to be involved in something. You just want to go.
Well, she said
exactly. He wants to be involved in every fucking thing.
Well, she said it in the previous episode. She was like, "I don't want to be involved in shit my daddy got something to do with."
Yep. And so she tells him, she's like, "Look, the family got secrets that you don't know about.
Right.
So listen to what I'm trying to tell you." And he's like, "Well, I know your secrets, so I suggest you keep your mouth closed." I'm like, CP, how she reacted? She wasn't feeling that, was she?
Nah, not at all. Because again, you hitting below the belt. Like, I'm just trying to help you out. I'm just trying to put you up on game, and you're hitting below the belt. And again, Jukebox, for a couple of reasons, she probably is privy to more things. One, because she's older, but two, again, I hate to beat up on Marvin, but I don't, her dad probably said stuff around her that he probably put, whereas Rock is probably a lot more closed mouth around Kanan when he was growing up. Marvin probably was saying whatever.
Exactly.
Like they probably
he was unfiltered.
CP, I agree
he wasn't filtered,
she
right?
With Marvin, so she's got to have exposure to a lot more than Kanan does.
Yeah, I agree with that. 100%.
And the fact that, and again, I mean, not to harbor on it, but the fact that nobody, like we didn't see not one person, including Marvin, nobody was questioning Scrap. So there's got to be a reason why it didn't even cross their mind that Scrap had dimed them out. I mean, even Marvin wasn't like, yo, I'm gonna roll up on that nigga. Like, even Marvin was like, it was unique, and we don't know how they found out, but they found out. So the fact that it goes back to what Jukebox was saying, like, yo, Scrappy is family. Like, he wouldn't do that, and you don't know you don't know everything.
And he been in the family for so many years, like, yo, he's part of the family. So think, dummy, it's gotta be somebody else. And then the fact that he threatened her, she was like, I ain't fucking scared of you. I'm not scared of you. So you think that you holding leverage over me because I'm gay, because I'm fucking around with a bitch? You think that that's supposed to intimidate me or whatever? Like, that was a low blow.
Yeah, that was.
But I also think that plays into Jukebox character and what Jukebox is going to be later on. Yeah, I think it's an explosion. That's a ticking time bomb.
It is. And we
see
all that this episode. Yeah. And Famous old stupid ass come up out the store. He don't know what's going on. Like, what's going on? You guys are beefing. And so he catches up with Jukebox, and he pretty much invites her to come hang out at the studio or whatever. She's like, fuck it, I ain't got nothing else to do. Because you got to think about, her world is in a bit of an upheaval this episode because she stopped boosting. We see what happens later on in the episode. So, she got time. So, she goes out to the studio to hang out with him. And then we see Raquel is at the towers. She's at the public housing spot that she had went and talked to the superintendent last week. And
that shit like Marcy Projects.
Yep. She picked the apartment that she wanted, and they're actually meeting in the apartment that she wants. And she pretty much like, I want this one right here, because I can look down and see the street and see everybody coming before they come. Y'all know she got the idea from Sympathy.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, definitely.
Remember the episode that they were outside on his balcony, and they were talking about the towers and how the rich white folk lived in the towers so they could look down on the poor people and see them coming before they get there. That he planted that seed in her, and she took that and incorporated it.
But we said though in previous episodes,
she learns from him.
She picks his head. Yep. She picks his brain to learn, to learn things that he knows that she can incorporate into her business.
And we see that firsthand right here. We saw it firsthand right here, because I think absolutely she that seed was planted by Sympathy, and she put that into motion for her business.
Right.
Oh my God, I'm on ice. Carry on.
So the tenant comes home the tenant comes home. He's like, "What the hell y'all doing in my place?" And he was like, "Oh, I don't know what y'all think y'all doing, but y'all ain't finna come take my spot from me or whatever." And then he started going off on the superintendent. Marvin's like, "He do what I say, just like you gonna do what we say." And he started talking shit to Marvin. Was getting ready to go without even happening. We didn't even need the thing to happen for us to know what was getting ready to happen.
Oh yeah, it was go time.
Yeah, it was go time. Yeah. And when he looked back and looked at Rock, and she kind of nodded a little bit. I mean, he started wailing on dude, yo.
Yeah, Marvin, it was go time.
Marvin, you ain't have to beat on that old man like that.
Man, look, man. Yeah. Why this nigga named Marvin? That's all I'm gonna keep asking. I'm gonna keep asking, like, if I ever meet 50, why that nigga named Marvin 50?
When she tell him to go get some air, and she send him and the superintendent away, she go talk to the dude. And she's like, "Listen, this is your choice. Either way, you know who I am. Either way, I'm going to get this spot. You know that I'm going to get this spot. So, the bigger question is how you going to come out on the end of it."
Right. You want to go out the front door or the back door?
Right.
Yeah, because you see Marvin over there already beating on him and shit.
Right. So this wasn't going to end well for him. And she told him, like, "Listen, and she didn't give it to him in that moment, but we know that she's going to give him some money for him, for his troubles or whatever. She's going to send him away with some money.
Brown envelope.
Yep, she's going to give him one of them little envelopes, and that's it. But here's my question for you, DJ. Do you think this is the apartment that Breeze got killed in?
Oh, that is a good question.
Do you think this is the same apartment that 50 came back Kanan came back in power and killed the old lady in?
I do think it's the same apartment that Kanan came back and killed the lady in power. That I do believe. The Breeze thing, I ain't really sure yet.
Well, it is. Because he told Tariq, remember when they were all hanging out there in the apartment, Jukebox and the little crew, Ray and them, they were all hanging out in one episode in their apartment. And I don't know if it was a conversation he had with Tariq or a conversation he had with Jukebox. That it was with Tariq, because he told Tariq, "This is the apartment that your daddy killed Breeze in," because he showed him the bullet hole in the wall. He showed him the bullet hole behind the picture in the wall. So my question is this the same apartment?
It probably is the same apartment. It's probably definitely some type of connection in there. It's definitely the same apartment. I see the connection. I see the connection. It very well could be the same one. And
because they're making such a big deal about it. They're making such
we would definitely find out when Breeze get there.
They're making such a big deal about it because what it sounds like going forward, this is how their business is going to be ran out of these apartment.
Which is smart. It kind of put me in. Like, I hate to make the connection between the two, but she's thinking more so like Stringer Bell. You know what I'm saying? It's like, we're not about to be worried about these corners. We're gonna do this a different way, so we're not out here fighting over these weak ass corners. You know, anything like that. Like, this is how we go to run our business. It's safer, and this is how we can get down. It's smart. She's being a thinker. She ain't being a soldier right now. She can go to soldier mode when she need to, but right now she thinking about this shit as a businesswoman. This is what makes sense right now.
I agree.
Especially because the
mindset of Stringer Bell, yes.
Especially because the shit getting hot in the corners with the shit that Unique just pulled off. The corners is going to be hot. So now if they do it
she told him, because you remember when Marvin came back up and he was like, he finally got up the gall to ask her what this was all about, because up until this moment he didn't know what the apartments were being used for.
Right.
So he was like, "Well, when are you and Kanan moving back in here?" And she looked at him like, "You are an idiot." She's like, "No, me and my son are not moving in here. This is where we're gonna operate our business out of."
Yeah.
He's like, "Well, what do we need the extra apartment underneath for?" She's like, "Because we're gonna put a secret chute in. We can throw the work down the chute to the other apartment if police ever come through here." Smart.
Yeah, she's smart.
But she also did.
Marvin even thought that they was moving back into the project just lets you know
how
Marvin's mindset is just not that bright.
But she also and with her saying that, she also let it be known, like, if I move, nigga, you would be the last one to know. Like, damn.
Every chance they get, they give him a hard time. Every chance they get. And again, sometimes I just can't be mad at them about it.
He brings it on himself, but they play a role in it too because I think they give him more credit than they should. Some people are only good for this, and just let them be good at what they're good at.
Exactly.
You can't. I understand their family. Stop trying to bring him into that other fold.
You know that he like the way he moves. You don't know like the way he does business and operate, but yet and still you put things on him unattended at that. At the very least, you should have had Lulu with him to move the stash house because, this is too tall of a task to give to Marvin.
Right. He's muscle, and that's it. He's the one that you call for the hit. That's it. You don't give him all that extra shit or whatever. You can pay him whatever you're going to pay him because he's family.
She said, "Don't give him that. Don't give him that. There's too many goddamn working moving parts. Just give him some way. Got to beat up somebody.
You the hit. You the hit man. When it's time to put in work." But by them throwing them shots at him, I think that like as a sibling, if that was happening to me, I would think that was relatively fucked up. And it's almost like he want to keep. It's almost like he probably feels though he got to prove himself that he's more than just that.
Exactly. And she even tells him there, she's like, look, Unique can have these fucking corners. We going to run our business out of here. We're going to be out of sight, out of mind, less risk.
Yeah.
And so, which is a smart move. So I think that is probably one of the things that Kanan had to instantly get back. Because, at that time in Power, he was completely out of the game. So, he was trying to get set back up to take over the organization again. He was trying to get a crew together. He was trying to get rid of Ghost and Tommy. And having that apartment, it was like he was getting ready to pick up business just like they were doing back in 1996 or 92.
92,
So we see Kanan rush into the house all mad, swelled up, with his chest all swelled up. He going to get his gap from under his bed. He still hadn't learned that ain't shit you can hide at home from a parent. Ain't shit you can hide.
Why would you have the pistol under the bed?
That's the first place we're gonna. That's the first place they go.
As a parent, that's the first place I'm going to look.
We saw that with Marvin when he was shaking down jukebox room. He looked up under the bed.
But then again, I had some magazines up under the bed that I had up on my mattress. That's acceptable for a teenager.
Yeah, but I'm talking about he had a whole gun up under the motherfucking bed, like that's safekeeping.
Crazy,
right?
And you see, she confront them, and they have a conversation again. And it's like he's still trying to pressure his mom into folding him into the business. And, she confronts him again. She's like, I spoke with your uncle, and, he told me the same thing, but, I don't really want to know what happened. She's like, I know enough to know that it wasn't nothing good. And she's like, so when I was pulling up, I seen you rushing in the house. What's up? And he's like, oh, I'm just coming to get some quarters to go to the pizza place. She knew he was lying right then and there, which I thought she was going to kind of double back around. And after she dropped him off at the arcade, because in that moment, she didn't seem like she believed what he was saying. And then, of course, I think she kind of got sidetracked when he started having a conversation about teach me how to cook. And she's like, oh, this nigga here. He just won't give up.
This nigga just won't stop.
She had this look on her face like, damn, this nigga here.
What'd he say?
Won't give up.
I already know how to fix spaghetti and meatballs.
Right, because she was like, cook what? And he was like, I already know how to fix spaghetti and meatballs. That ain't what I'm talking about. I'm like, damn.
But you know what? I don't think she necessarily got sidetracked. I think that's something that he just normally do anyway. So I think she took it upon herself to just trust that that's what he was just about to get ready to go do.
And she was probably a bit of relieved that that's what he wanted to go do.
And yeah, because I think if she really thought that he was gonna do something else, because that's her first priority, that she's smart enough that she just would have stayed.
Right. Or lingered back.
Yeah, or she would have doubled back, or something. That she's smart enough, she just would have been like, all right, yeah, let me keep an eye on him.
But she tells him, she's like, look, let me think about this. She's like, listen, quit putting this on my head. Let me think about this for a minute. I'm going to drop you off. Let me think about it. We'll talk about this later. And so we see her drop him off at the arcade or at the pizza place. And, they go their separate ways. But we also see down the road, you got Bert and Detective Howard, they tailing her or had been tailing her or whatever the case may be. And, they trying to figure out what's going on with the stash house that, maybe if we tell her, she'll lead us to, you know, what all happened over there at that stash house. But in that moment when they seen him come right back out of the pizza place after she had dropped him off, they was like, he up to no good. Let's follow him instead.
Right.
And in his mind, what was he thinking in his mind that I'm finna go confront Scrappy? Like
he really think
that you was gonna ready to lick him.
He really did. Like he really thought he was going to confront Scrap. Like what did he think Scrap was going to do? I'm so sorry. I flipped on the family. Like what did you think he was going to say? Like,
man, his chest is pumped up so much that he would have proved himself that he's ready for it. But again, he shows that he's so far from not being ready for it. And I just think that he's just trying to prove himself. Because he's not thinking straight. Or he's not putting them much. I go say he's not thinking straight, because saying that Scrappy could have did it. Saying Scrappy could have did it
off of a moment.
Scrappy could have he's very well could have been option B that probably could have said something. But even with that being said, it was like, well, why would Scrappy say something when this is his business too, and this is how we get? So it could have been a lot. But I just think that he is not putting everything together before he reacts.
No, because he can't. You could see it all over his face when he walked around that corner with his face all swollen up,
his nose all flared,
and
all this other type of shit, and this Patrick Ewing jersey chest started a little bit more, and all that type of shit. It's like if you don't calm your high school ass down, try to confront this grown ass man,
that's
right? Get the shit kicked out of you.
And again, in broad daylight, in front of a group of people that don't have nothing to do with y'all business,
and
you're
talking
talking
about y'all business. Right.
You know what I'm saying? And just like it did, like even some of his rationale, like I get he called off work. He was like, and he got them new Jordans. The nigga get paid. Like you act like he don't have a job. Well, it ain't a legal job.
I saw the bread toes out there.
Yeah, they screwed that up. They screwed that up. I saw that. I was like,
some bread toes on.
I was like, how they got bread toes on in the 90s? Come on, man.
I love my bread toes.
Come on, man.
Yeah, they screwed that one up.
Yeah, so I had the bread toes on, but that's fine.
But yeah,
Chris, we talking about sneakers.
Yeah, we talking about sneakers.
I know what y'all talking about.
Yeah,
I know y'all talking about sneakers. You notice I just got quiet. Like I'm gonna let them have it. And wait a minute. And bread, those are the black and white Jordans, right?
Black and red.
Black and red.
I mean, black, red, and white, right? Black, red, and white.
Well, bread is mostly black and red.
Yeah, that's basically what bread is the acronym for. Bread.
Yeah,
right.
Black is black and red.
Okay,
yeah,
got it. See, I'm learning.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. She gonna have a pair of breads one day. Yeah. We gonna get it there.
Yeah,
we gonna get it there.
But
probably not. But go ahead.
But you see, Scrappy didn't go to work on him too bad. He roughed him up a little bit to let him know that I ain't the one to play with.
When he saw that blood though.
Ass.
When he saw that blood though, Kanan got mad as hell when he drew blood though.
He should have beat his ass.
Yeah, he should.
But for respect for Rock.
But he told him that he said, "Listen, if you wasn't who you were, you don't got to work out here."
If he wasn't who he was, if he wasn't who he was, he probably would have been dead.
Yeah, and so you see, Detective Howard and his partner roll up, and they arrest him, and you see one of Unique boys come out of bodega, and he's seeing everything that's going on. He kind of snickering about it or whatever the case may be. I already knew that was a setup. And
I like the way it happened though.
Yeah, thanks to Kanan's bungling, it just made it more believable.
It made it perfect.
Yep. And so you see Raquel, she's at the bodega. She's trying to, unload her money and her work and stuff.
Oh, I love this scene.
Here comes this greedy motherfucker.
I love this scene.
The shakedown.
Mr. Shakedown.
I love this shit.
Mr. Shakedown.
Her words, I was like, yo, I got to quote that.
She said, listen, when we negotiate, we shook hands. When we renegotiate, we gonna throw hands.
We gonna throw hands.
Yep.
I was like,
right,
exactly.
Talk your shit, right?
And she's like, you don't want that. You don't want that. I'm waiting for her to ask him any moment now. I'm waiting for her to ask him any moment. I want to be paid more. I'm waiting for her to ask her any moment.
Rock gonna kill
why
him.
the lady at the front desk look like that? Yo? Why
I don't think it's gonna be Marvin. I don't think it's gonna be Lulu. I think Rock is gonna kill him.
No, I think the wife is. I think the wife is gonna take him out.
I think the wife might set him up, but I think,
he's gonna be involved.
Yeah. But I think Rock is definitely gonna play a big role in him dying.
It's time for him to go. I don't want to see him another episode. It's time for him to go.
Yeah, because I need more. I need more. Like,
because he's a threat.
Are you crazy?
He's a threat at this point because he looked like the type he would go to the police.
Just off that conversation alone,
yes,
he should have died.
Yep, she should have. Yeah. And so you see Kanan down to the police office station, and Detective Howard got him at the desk, try to question him and whatever. And he had enough sense to know that, listen, I ain't telling you nothing till my legal guardian get here, so stop asking me all these questions. He said, bro, your mouth leaking. He gave a handkerchief, bloody mouth up. And then he had the nerve to turn around and look at Scrappy, and Scrappy gave that little look like, yeah, nigga, I'll do it again, too. That shit was funny. I died laughing. When he turned around and looked at Scrappy, and Scrappy looked at him like, yeah, you'll get another one, too.
I mean, you don't know how these hands fly. Go do something, Kanan.
Do something.
Go do something. You need to be playing Street Fighter or something, little nigga. This ain't for you.
So, we learned Kanan's is August the 15th, 1975. So today is Kanan's birthday. So shout out Kanan. Happy birthday, Team Leo.
Leo. Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Right.
On your birthday. Wow. Who want to break this scene down? Because we learned a lot in this scene.
Oh my gosh, we got so much information in this scene.
I can start.
So much.
I can start. I want to start with the father, or the person that supposedly to be Kanan's father.
Rondell Stark.
Defcon Stark. Defcon Stark. So I love the nickname, by the way. So what I like about it is because we had no idea of who his father is, because we know Rock name, last name is Thomas. The rest of them around Thomas. So we couldn't put a name with his father. We still can't put a face with it yet, but we can't put a name with the father. Secondly, when Detective Howard looked at it, and then he asked the age again, this and the other, it automatically clicked in my head like, okay, these two are hooked up at some point.
Yeah, when he said, I thought you were younger.
Yeah.
No, I thought you were older. I said, oh shit. Like it clicked. Like,
but even before he found out the age, we had already got the setup for it, because he was like, when Kanan's response to his questions was, I'm waiting for my legal guardian to get here. He was like, oh, I can't wait to see Ron. He said, I can't wait to see Raquel. Me and her go way back. She ain't tell me.
She ain't tell you. And then
like, no, we'll
talk about 12. We'll talk about police. So, but that scene right there and the way he looked, like, to me, this kind of just gave it all up. It was just like, all right, it's questionable.
Again, it goes right over Kanan's head, because in that
it's
moment,
questionable
over his face
of who his father is.
Yep, he had to put it together. Yep.
And when he would start, when Detective Howard started piecing it together, like, he showed his hand, but Kanan wasn't smart enough to see that his hand was being shown. He just was kind of like, oh yeah, I thought this, about your age or whatever. He
was shook on that. Yeah, he was
shook on that.
Yeah, he was shook.
But that scene was so necessary.
I agree.
That scene was so necessary. It is a huge part of Power 3, of Power Book 3. Huge part.
If not the hugest.
Yeah, if not the biggest.
Because we learn so much that takes us all the way back to Power. Because we know, we could argue the point that eventually he's going to find out that Detective Howard is his father. I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think Rock is gonna block him from that. Yeah. But I'll talk about that a little further more, like, when we get to our predictions.
I will too. So we'll move on past that.
Yeah.
So Symphony shows up, and we learned that Kanan called Symphony to come pick him up and whatever. What do you think his motivation was behind it? Because we even see when Symphony put Howard in his place that, okay, you ain't finna handle me like everybody else, so I ain't a nigga, I ain't your brother, and he ain't really done nothing, so what's the charge? Let him go. But you kind of see Scrappy. What was Scrappy's reaction all about? Because was it that he was upset because nobody came for him? What do you think that was all about? Because you saw that look that Scrappy kind of gave him when he was leaving with Kanan. What are we picking up here?
I think the look was, who the fuck are you? Like, I know his uncles, I know his mama. I don't know you, nigga.
So you were saying that he expected somebody that like Raquel or Lulu or Marvin show up for him. So this stranger shows up for him. Like, yeah, who are you? Right. I agree with that.
I didn't really take too. I didn't really. To be honest, I ain't really.
Nah, there was a message there.
Looking, I really didn't look too much into the way Scrappy was looking, about the situation, or whatever. It could have been like I never seen you before, but you picking up the Queen Pin's son. That's just crazy. You know what I'm saying? But it might just be business. It might just be this is Rock's personal business, and this is the business. It could be just two separate.
Nah, there was a message.
We just lost somebody.
Nah, everybody here.
No, everybody here.
Oh, okay.
There was a message. There was a message with that look, and even with Detective Howard, you saw it because he was like, "Well, who are you?" So this is a civilian that's showing up. A decent person that's showing up to pick up the Queen Pin's son. Like, there's more to this.
I'm quite sure there's some Easter eggs in there somewhere that we're gonna have to identify. But me personally, I didn't look into that much. What I did look into a lot was the fact that he called Symphony instead of calling. He could have called his Uncle Marvin, which probably would have been a bad look. He probably would have made it worse. But he could have called, a few other people. But he calls the person who's right now the closest to his mom,
right?
Which I think they're trying to get, as they said, and meet the Fockers, the circle of trust. And then they said, meet the Fockers, the circle of trust. And he's trying to see, can I trust you to not tell my mom about this situation, and I'm going to use that to my benefit because that would help me like you more and make it easier for when you're coming over to the house. We could build a rapport behind
that
this.
Detective Howard looked out at that bloody handkerchief, and he gonna probably take that handkerchief to that doctor and have that blood sample tested.
Yep.
That's a compatible match for that bone marrow. So we already know where that's going. And so we see Famous is at the studio with them weak ass rhymes. I'm like, oh my God, when is he gonna get rid of him? Please get rid of him.
I'm too famous. I'm like, what the hell is this? This shit is terrible. But anyway.
And you see Lulu show up and Jukebox is there. And they all hanging out, and we find out that Crown ain't paying his workers. He ain't paying the workers.
He ain't got the money.
He ain't got no money. He's snorting it all.
Right. He's snorting up all this shit. We gonna snort this money.
He ain't paid them folks in 3 weeks. So Milo, which is the engineer, like, listen, because they were talking about getting a vocalist on the track. And Crown was like, call this person, call that person, and Milo was telling them like, yo, ain't nobody coming because you ain't paid them.
Right.
And so, Lulu took this as an opportunity, like, yo, how much you need? And he paid up all the debts. And so with that, he told Jukebox, when he told Jukebox to get in there and get on the track, she was like, nah, Uncle Lou, you ain't got to do that. He was like, look, I just paid for your studio time. What she asked him for in the last episode, she asked him for a favor, and he did it. So
he did. He came through.
He came through. So I think what we're getting, what they're setting the tone for, this is about to be Lulu's studio. Like, Lulu about to take control of the studio. I think that's what's ultimately going to end up happening.
I got a prediction behind this, but I'm going to wait.
I think Lulu's going to end up taking control of the studio or whatever, but he put Jukebox in the booth. She do a thing or whatever the case may be. And, Crown doesn't seem like he's too enthused. But then here comes the sister. She's like, but maybe you need to let Crown do what he's good at doing. Nah, I need you to mind your fucking business because you put your brother on. Let me put my niece on.
Right. So, I didn't understand. Like, I was like, you need to go.
That was a little low key hating.
Like,
that was a little bit low key hating.
Because here's the part that I hate about it was you gassed, and maybe it wasn't necessarily gassed, but you was encouraging Lulu. You was encouraging Lulu to do, to do the shit. Right. And now he's kind of like, all right,
bossing up.
Yeah, and now you want to step in and say, let Crown Camacho, do this shit. I don't like him either. I think he probably should have died this last episode, but whatever. But now you kind of like, well, let him do and this, that, and the other, or whatever. What I do like about this part is it gives more insight on Jukebox.
Yep.
We found out how she got her nickname and everything.
I love it.
We found out how she got her nickname. Yep. She used to get a quarter from everybody in the neighborhood to sing their song. And yep, we learned how she got her name. Yep.
Since she was 5 years old. Since she was 5 years old, she was making money off of her voice.
Yep.
So you ain't got nothing to worry about. Put her in. It was like time is money. It's like, no, nigga, money is money.
Money is money. I think ultimately this is going to drive a bigger wedge between him and Marvin once he finds out about this. He's going to drive a bigger wedge between his disdain or his disliking for Jukebox's singing. But I don't understand why he has such an issue with it. I don't understand. Maybe we'll learn more about that in the next 5 episodes.
I do, because she ain't selling dope.
I guess so.
Because she ain't selling dope. Like, you supposed to be out here hitting licks. She want him in the family business. We just lost Marvin.
So. Yeah, we lost Marvin. But so we learned that well, like I said, I feel like, and I don't know if we necessarily learned it in this scene, but I do feel like Lulu is going to take a more of a role at the studio and what's happening here at the studio.
Yeah, I think that was the symbolism in the last scene that we saw. I mean, we can get to that, but with Lulu at the end of this episode, I feel like that was what that symbolism was, because they were in the studio getting it in. And I feel like that's what that that symbolism, like he's, like you said, he's taking over, like it's his, or he feels a sense of ownership. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I agree.
I think once the money got involved or whatever, and
that was
they accepted the money, then that was it. It was no different from when Rod offered the money up for the store, for the bodega. You know, once the money getting involved, it's like,
because she even told him that. She told him that. She was like, "This is my business now." Remember, she
told
that last episode.
Yeah, like I keep the lights on in here, so this is
me. And the fact that Camacho took it without any conversation to Lulu, like he didn't say, "When do I need to pay you back?" He didn't say, "What's this gonna cost me?" Nothing. As soon as Lulu started talking about money, and the engineer was like nah, and Camacho was like, well, no, he's part of the business. Yeah. I was like, so basically you accepted that money from Lulu without any conversation. So that tells me, like, I feel like you already know what's up.
So I'm supplying you money and drugs.
And drugs.
And
it's
drugs.
Not just the money.
Yeah.
I give you the drugs and the money. Yeah,
it's over.
Yeah,
it's over. So this my shit now. And it's just like, what's the name told her? Like, that's what I pay you for. I pay you for you to take this risk. Mm-hmm. So at this point, this about to be my spot. It kind of goes back to what I was saying in earlier podcasts about Marvin's intentions with the club. It's like I feel like, each one of them have their kind of own thing that they kind of want to incorporate the business in. I could very easily see Lulu incorporating the studio into his part of the business. I can see Marvin incorporating the club into his part of the business. And then, of course, Rock has the bodega and the apartments now. So it's kind of like what we've seen in other series of powers, where they all have something else to wash the money through. What we haven't seen that in this show is how they're washing the money. They're not washing money anyway.
Right.
It's all dirty money. So I can see, that's why I feel like Lulu is going to take a big part into managing this studio going forward. That, and according to IMDb, Camacho is not going to be in many more episodes, so we know.
I already know that. He's not going to be around. More famous weak ass,
right? So you see, Symphony and Kanan on their way home, and they're getting close to his house, and he's like, "Yo, drop me up here." And that was a smart move, because, if his mom would have been home and seen that Sympathy dropped him off, that would have been a whole bunch of questions he didn't want to have to answer. And putting Sympathy in a position to tell his mom what had happened. So I think that's why he wanted to get out down the street or whatever. But, they kind of came to an agreement like, "Yo, I'm not going to necessarily offer anything up to your mom, but she asked me about it, I'm coming clean." And, he could respect that. I can respect that.
Right.
So... ain't really too much to talk about that. We did learn in that scene that he was a foster child. So, he kind of grew up as a loner. So it kind of speaks to his character a little bit. So, it's setting the tone that, he's adopting them as part of his family, so to speak. That's his family unit. He's looking at them as part of his family, so to speak. So you see Scrappy finally just got out. It's nighttime. Poor Scrappy. He walking home. And Rock coming down the street. She pulled up on her. He was like, oh, shit. She put a Range Rover up on the truck, on the curb. He already knew. She like, yo, Scrappy, get in the car. We need to talk. And I already knew right then what was up. She was getting ready to set a move,
Yeah, I was about to say that was a chess move right there.
That was a chess move.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Well, when like he immediately was like, yo, Rock, like I know, but he rolled up on me. He was embarrassing me. Like he was telling on himself.
Yeah, he was
and you sort of look on
Kanan.
right,
Yep.
and you sort of look at her face like I ain't got nothing to do with that. Like get in the car. Like I knew.
Yeah,
because
I was already looking for you
she
anyway.
Ain't even tripping off of that.
Yeah,
right. I was already looking for you anyway. I'm trying to make a move right now, so we need to talk about this business.
yeah, because he was like, well, I got to represent. I let him pump me while everybody was outside. And she just gave him a look like, yeah, we got other issues that we got to take. It's something way bigger than that. That was just an ass whooping. That's fine.
Yep. No harm, no foul.
Yeah.
So we see Jukebox over to Nicole's house, and they're making out. They're listening to the song that she just made.
Another major scene.
This is what I've been looking for right here.
Universe.
This is what I've been looking for right here. This is what I've been looking for. This is the making.
I think this is the creation.
Yep.
Of
the Jukebox that we met in Power Season 3. Yep. This is her. This is what created her. This is what made her so cold-hearted. And I'm almost go ahead and tell you this. I'm going to take it a little bit further. You remember back in Power when they had pulled the jewelry store heist.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And she had pulled up and she had reported the crime. She saw 4 white suspects leaving.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this is going to develop a disliking towards white people, towards civilian type people, because even with the whole drugstore heist, when she killed the little guy at the store, I think all this is what introduced us to Jukebox character. So what happens is the mama busts in the room, to invite them to come on down to dinner or whatever. She sees them making out and she goes the fuck off on Jukebox. And I was pissed. I was pissed at the comments and stuff that she was making, because you automatically assume that Jukebox is the one that's trying to rape your daughter and push up on your daughter because she was on top of her. Get it, got it. But the girl even came clean in the room when you was going off on her and calling her a repellent and all this bullshit. She said, I kissed her. Like, the little girl wasn't even trying to let Jukebox go down for it. She stood tall for her. I'll have to give her that. She stood tall for her, but that was just a heartbreaking scene for her, because I don't think that Jukebox is ever going to see this little girl again. It's a wrap. We ain't going to see Nicole no more. That's a wrap.
I think that personally, just dealing with, like, as a human being dealing with heartbreaks, and like after your first love, when love is slayed,
and she lost her virginity to this girl.
When love is slayed, and you put so much trust into a person, and it's not any wrongdoing with the person that she was with. It was the circumstances, because they teenagers or whatever. You was in your parents' house or this and another. That shit is hard to recover from.
Yeah,
that is like one of the hardest things to recover from. And I don't think
not only that, but
necessarily going to recover.
Just reflecting back on the things that woman said to her and how aggressive she was, and you could see all the hurt and the tears and the pain in her, because she was already battling with this in earlier episodes, and the little girl kind of got her comfortable with being who she was.
And she was sharing one of her happiest moments of her life with her at the time, because she was on that track.
Yep.
Yeah.
And for it to happen,
and the girl was
to blow up.
The girl was such a good influence in her life, so to speak, because she supported her in her singing. Because this is the only person that is supporting her at this point. Because her family, they don't want to stand up to Marvin and support her love for music. this girl was the only one that was encouraging her and supporting her with wanting to pursue, her singing.
Right, because the
and
allure
trying to tell her
of
what's right for herself. Because remember, she told her last week to stop stealing.
right, because the allure of her being into the music industry and her getting that opportunity and it presented herself. Of course, you're gonna want to share it with the person that was encouraging her the most, But then when her parents found out, when Nicole's parents found out, it brought sorrow, mistrust, shame. It brought a distrust. Like it brought so much. It brought so much things against her or whatever that I don't think that he's going to able to recover from.
Yeah,
because she don't have the support. She don't have the support system to recover from it. She can't talk to Marvin about it.
And she can't talk to Kanan about it right now because her and Kanan are
beefing. Yeah.
Right. So she don't have the support system to even try to bounce back from that. Even beforehand, she had a support system she had somewhat of a support system with Rock. But I don't know if Rock actually think that, that she's into women. And she got a support system from Lulu. And plus, she knows
that Rock got so much going on with her right now that she's not going to be really able to deal with this right now. She's dealing with so much with Kanan right now and everything else with the business that, she's not that nurturing auntie that she would normally be.
I think her emotion is going to be so lost in the wind that it's going to create the jukebox that we
absolutely agree.
It's going to be so lost in the wind because it's so much going on. It was definitely a turning
point.
It was a big turning point.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just so much going on with that, and to
further add insult to injury, if she does see this little girl again, I feel like that little girl is going to probably try to come out there because remember she said in earlier episodes, "I want to see where you live. I want to come to Jamaica, Queens." I think that little girl's going to try to come out there, and something going to happen to her. Yep.
She come out there, she going to die.
Yep, and that's going to even make it even worse.
Yeah,
that's going to get even worse. Either way, we see that this is what created the jukebox that we know.
Yeah, I think this was the turning point for jukebox.
Yep.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm sorry. I felt like I took over that whole little portion.
No.
But I had a lot to say with that because I just felt as though that was just like because Jukebox is my favorite character development or my favorite character as far as how she's gonna end up turning.
You hit all the points that I wanted.
Yeah. So, but I
we're
think
on the same page.
Yeah, I think this is like one of the biggest turning points as far as character analysis.
Speaking of turning points, we see that Rock comes to a crossroads in her next scene because she's made up her mind to go ahead and show him how to cook this crack.
Oh, man.
You can see it all over her face and her mannerisms and her expressions that I really don't want to do this shit, but I have no choice. I have no choice. Because if she didn't do it, he's going to try to go out here and find another way to
learn from somebody else.
And it's going to make it worse. He's going to create more problems.
We already know that he know how to make shit worse.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to do something that y'all probably going to be so shocked and surprised to hear me say, but it kind of gives me some insight on Tasha's character.
I knew it.
Shut up. I don't even want to hear nothing from you. Shut up.
I knew it.
I still don't like her. She's still a slut bucket. But
oh my god.
I knew it.
But yes. I do understand now why she ended up having to do some of the things she did with Tariq because listen, if you're gonna learn how to be in this life, let me teach you the right way before you go out here and fuck some shit up and get all of us fucked up or get yourself killed. So I understand why she's doing what she's doing.
For the record, can I say that I said that and you was like can I just say I said that? I just want to say I said that.
But Raquel didn't have no other support in dealing with this teenage boy. She didn't have no male figure around. She's a single parent.
She got two male figures.
Tasha had a whole husband that was trying to get all of them.
She got two male figures. Husband is one thing, but she got two male figures.
None of them are a good influence on
Lulu, Ed, and Marv. She had two male figures.
No.
Hell, none of them are good. Wait a minute, hold on.
None of them
were.
Exactly.
But none of them were a good influence with Tasha. You had Tommy, hothead
and Ghost.
And Ghost, who
But
I
Ghost was
understand,
trying to protect his family and get his family out of this life, not further indulge them in it.
But what I'm saying is, I understand that part. But by the time Tariq started acting out, Ghost was off with Angela.
And he just lost his little sister.
Listen, it doesn't negate the fact that Tasha pulled her panties down to the side.
Oh my God, we're not talking about how they
for anybody that offered her.
We're not talking about how she pulled her panties out this and the other. We only talking about how she decided to handle Tyreek.
I'm saying
equivalent to
that
how
is why I didn't like her character.
It's equivalent to how
her parenting skills. It wasn't because of her parenting skills with Tariq. Is why I didn't like her character. I didn't like her character for other reasons. Coupled with that, with the fact that she didn't support her husband, she stole money from her husband, she fucked every man that offered her a glass of water. Those were the reasons why I didn't like.
She only had sex with 2 other men.
2 other men? You say that like that's okay?
I'm not saying it's okay, but she only had sex with 2 other.
Ghost was. You act like Ghost was an angel or something.
Listen, that's another day, another show.
Because Ghost was about to get ready to back old girl if he didn't get killed.
Listen, that's another day, another show. Let's move on. And she fucked more. She fucked more than 2 guys because she fucked Sean. She fucked Terry Silver.
That's 2.
She fucked Quincy. So
Quincy was at the end. That was.
It don't matter.
I forgot about Quincy.
No, it
don't matter.
Her and Ghost were damn near divorced. They weren't even living together anymore.
Another day.
We're
gonna have to have a whole other character.
Yeah, I'm not giving you Quincy. That one I'm not giving you.
Yeah, I can't give you Quincy either. But we're gonna have to have a whole other character analysis. We're gonna have to do that for another day.
Y'all know how I feel about her character.
Yeah, we know.
But I was trying to make a point here, and the point I was trying to make is she felt pressured at that point to go further with Kanan than she wanted to. And he even says in his narration when it was cutting up the crack was that, people have choices and this was the choice that I made. So he made that choice. She didn't make it for him.
And I'm glad. And the other part I liked about his narration was he was like, people always say, oh, he came from that. He had no choice. How did you expect him to end up any other way?
Right.
And he was like, nah, I chose this. Because, again, his mother was trying to do everything in her power to keep him out of it, short of sending him away. She didn't send him to grandma's house. But other than that, she tried to keep him out of it. So, yeah, I thought that was an interesting narration, too.
So we see Scrappy ends up over at Nick's place. And we already knew when we see him come up in there what the move was. Mm-hmm. So we don't really have to talk about that too much. We already knew that Rock sent him over there to be a mole. So, and can't put my thumb on is whether or not Nick is believing this sincerely.
Buying it.
Yeah, I don't think he's buying it.
I think Scrappy go kill him.
No, I think he's going to kill Scrappy.
I think they go kill each other personally because
either way, I think this is the end of Scrappy. I think this is
either way, because Unique is not making it all the way to episode 10. So something's going to happen.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah,
but we see when he looked up at that dry erase board where they had everything mapped out. We already see that he was processing and to feed that information back to him. So it's going to be very interesting to see what ends up happening because I don't think for a moment that he bought that.
But this also proves what Jukebox was saying because Jukebox was like Scrappy is one of the most loyal, soldiers that's in the camp.
Right.
And for him to put his life on the line to go do this for Rock, or do this for the family, that shows a lot about his character. Yep. Yeah. That shows a lot about his character because he's putting his life definitely in danger because they sniff anything that's don't seem right. He's done.
Yep.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? They probably torture him and then what I'm saying? Like he's done.
So we see Lulu and old girl at the studio, they getting it in or whatever. And I really don't even want to spend too much time talking about it because I feel like she a thought too.
Oh boy, wow. Okay.
Oh my God. How the hell is she a thought?
She just is.
No comments.
I really don't
Me
know
either.
what I really don't know what they gave us that scene for, other than to just further prove my theory that Lulu is going to take control of this studio. This is about to become his spot. This is new
That's what I
layer.
walked away from. I walked away because that like doing something like that is like almost like a sense of ownership, or
Exactly.
even like I own this, I run this. Like you straight up got your girl laid out on the soundboard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
That's why I think exactly what that was. It was kind of like, all right, now I'm the man running this piece. I think like what she said in the last episode or whatever made him step up as far as the financial backing, not necessarily behind the ones and twos and moving the buttons, but I think that's his first step, behind what she was saying, when he was like, well, I can't wait on you, or, or this, that, and the other. You're like, well, now I'm providing the money. You ain't got to wait on me. I'm
Right.
calling the shots now.
right.
Kind of
I'm
going
putting
back
the
to
money.
it's kind of going back to what Rock told Kanan too. She was like, listen, I'm going to teach you how to do this shit, because at the end of the day, if something happens to me, I need you to be able to take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And you seen her when she was taking that trash out, Detective Howard come up, they had that conversation, which was inevitable. We knew that was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
That, he confronts her about what he found out about Kanan being his son or whatever. She didn't deny it, but at the same time, she pretty much told him, stay away from my son.
Right. She was like, stay away from my damn son.
Yep. And we know that if Kanan does find out about it, he doesn't respect it. He doesn't believe it, because all throughout Power, he goes by Kanan Stark. So, he never changed his name. He never stopped being Kanan Stark. So part of me seems to think that he's not going to find out about it, or if he does find out about it, he's never going to accept being his dad being a cop. He's never going to accept that, especially given how he went out killing cops. I don't think that he's ever going to find this out. That's just my opinion.
He probably not going to accept it. I think he might possibly find it out or whatever. He probably not going to leak it out.
I think that what's his name going to try to use that as leverage against her to get that bone marrow. But we're going to have to see how that unfolds. I got to think a little bit more about that, how that's going to unfold, because I absolutely think that he's going to try to use this as a grab to get Kanan to get this bone marrow. So we're just gonna have to see how Rock's gonna play this.
I don't even think this necessarily be that. Like, if that's his son, I don't think he want to I don't think he want to go that far into that. But I think he just wants to let her know, like, hey, this is my kid. I think
him looking down at that bloody napkin absolutely tells me that he is going to.
I was going to say, I think this is about him getting that bone marrow.
I agree.
Because why else bring it up into the storyline? Why? Like, he could have that whole scene could have played out the exact same way without the whole bone marrow storyline.
Without him having the leukemia.
Yeah, that whole scene could have played out the exact same way, where he asked Kanan his age and put two and two together. The fact that they're bringing in this, I need a family member or I'm going to die. I think that Rock is going to be faced with a decision now, whether she tells him, whether she tricks him into doing it or whatever.
That's what I'm more so leaning towards. I don't think she's going to tell him that that's your father and this is why you got to do it. I think it's more so going to be for the good of the family. Like, listen, this will get him in control. This will get him up off our back. If he gives him the bone marrow, it's not going to be because it's my dad, I'm doing it for that reason. It's going to be because Raquel has orchestrated him to do this on behalf of the family. I don't think that he ever gets to the point that he's going to find out that this is his daddy. And with that, that wraps up this week's episode. So what you got for me, DJ? You got any questions?
Actually, I do. First, I'm going to read something off Wilford Johnson.
Shout out to Wilford. Appreciate you listening to the show, yo.
He goes on and he said, this is my new favorite review of Power. Thank you, family.
Hey.
Most people give a very shallow analysis of the show, which kind of defeats the purpose. Lulu will be the wild card of this show. His archetype, the very calculated individual, except for Ghost, always make the right decisions for them. Not necessarily the family or friends, but themselves. It may manifest with the divide of the business versus the music, but we'll have to see. Most people will argue that Raquel is the archetype, but she made several decisions of emotions over logic in terms of what is best for the business and the family. What does the TSF family think? Looking forward to the episode 5 review. Peace, family.
Well, I'm going to have to play devil's advocate for just a second because I don't necessarily think that Lulu's going to be necessarily the wild card. We definitely feel more so that Marvin is more the wild card. But I do agree that Lulu does think things through a little bit more methodically because we saw that with the whole D-Wiz thing. We saw that he was challenged with the decision that he had to make of killing this boy. But, you know, the way he went about doing it, you know, he went about doing it by giving him the best night of his life. You know, this is your last night on earth, so, you know, I'm going to take care of you. Even though at the end of this night, I know I got to kill you. You know, it was for the betterment of the family. And even with Jukebox, you know, kind of going against his brother's wishes, that he even told Jukebox in the last episode that, you know, this is the reason why I haven't helped him thus far, because I know that my brother doesn't, like this. But, you know, at the end of the day, to see that his niece is happy and giving her some piece of happiness or something that she wants, he went ahead and supported, you know, her being a part of the studio and getting on the track. So, I mean, I agree. And Raquel, for me, Raquel is she does make decisions that she feels is best for the family, but I think she goes about it a little bit the wrong way because she always thinks that money is going to solve the problem. But I think she's forced to have to do that because of Kanan's irrational behavior and his reaction that's definitely off of feelings. Because everything he does that we've seen him do so far, he's reacted because of what he thought was going on. And he had a totally wrong perception of what was going on, and it created problems for the family, thus created problems for Raquel that she wasn't really equipped to deal with. So I think that if those things hadn't have happened, that, you know, Raquel would have been moving a little bit differently than she's moving right now. But because she's in damage control right now, cleaning up messes that Marvin are creating up messes that Kanan's creating, she has no choice but to kind of react to these things a little bit hastily than she normally would.
I really be.
I can see the point he's making, because Lulu is the character we haven't figured out. Yep. Like, for example, we know Kanan. Like, we know how his story ends. We know who he is. Jukebox, we know who she is. We know how her story ends. I mean, we don't know how she quite gets there, but we know who she is. Marvin, we know he's the fuck up, right? We know that Marvin is, if there's any way to fuck it up, he's going to be the one to do it. And Rock is, you know, she's the queen pin. She's the head of the family. And like you said, she thinks money is the answer to everything. So I feel like Lulu is the one that we still haven't quite figured out. Like, in any given situation, we don't necessarily know how Lulu's going to handle it. We know what Marvin's going to do. We know what Rock's going to do. We even know what Kanan's going to do. Yep. You know what I'm saying? But we don't necessarily know what Lulu's going to do. And we don't really know as much about Lulu. We're learning, like, we've learned more about Marvin than we really, other than the whole, you know, Lulu and his love for music. We don't really know anything about Lulu.
And for that matter, the same can be said about Jukebox. You know, we're starting to get bits and pieces of her, but, you know, ultimately we still have a lot more to learn about her, because how do we meet this version of Jukebox in Power where she decides to become a cop?
I got another fan that's going to ask about that.
Well, come on.
As far as the Lulu situation, with him being the wild card, I 100% agree with him being a wild card, because the wild card, like, I don't think Marvin is the wild card. I think he's a wild person. I don't think he's a wild card.
Right.
I think with Lulu is just so many different avenues you could travel down with Lulu as far as the music things going. It's not the fact that I don't think the fact that he's a yes person for.
He's more methodic.
And I think that, like, he's a logical thinker.
Yep.
You know, like, this is what makes more sense. I don't think, as the listener said, you know, the division between the music and the business that they're in. That put me in the mindset of Ghost with trust in the business that they're actually in. Right. I don't think that there's going to be that much of a division. I think he's going to be able to collide both of them and make it work out into his favorite as long as he possibly can. I'm not sure how long it's going to be able to last, but as long as he possibly can. I think his passion is for both of them, but what makes more sense to him right now is the drug game.
Right.
And if he can get into the music industry or whatever, I don't think he's going to take his eye off of this in order to take care of that. I think he's going to be able to take care of both of them, especially by this being in the 90s and the music industry back then from 90s and lower years or whatever was drugs and music. This is the way that they went hand in hand. As far as Rock go, I think Rock is a logical thinker. I think Rock is never going to be a war person unless she absolutely have to. She's never going to be a war person. Her goal is going to always be to outthink the person that she's dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
And the more that she could do with that, the more successful that she would be. She's not. I don't think she's built for war. Even with Marvin on her side, I don't think that she's built for war at all. She can't do it. So I just think that, like, maybe when High Post was alive, that maybe it was something different. But I just think that as of right now, no.
All right, I can understand that.
The next question was, this was from Daniel. How do you think Jukebox turned into the person that she is, or the person that we saw on Power?
Well, I think we answered a lot of that, and that scene with her and Nicole. Mm-hmm. I think that that is the makings of this cold-hearted, I don't love anyone, because we saw it when she was walking down the street home that night when she saw all the heterosexual couples walking and being together and being in love. Her coming to that realization that she could never publicly show that type of affection with anyone that she's with. I think that it created a lot of hurt and turmoil in her that is going to go into just pure hatred. And going back to what we were saying earlier, she doesn't have a support system, that was her support system, and she just lost her in that moment, is my opinion.
Yeah, I'm going to say the same thing. I think we got a really, really big glimpse into that in this episode. I think that's like the first step. I mean, I think other things happened but I think that was the first step that sort of went in that direction. I mean, we saw that her becoming a cop was never really about her becoming a cop. It was about her having access and being able to
pull
run her
with
it was never about the people. So
it was never for the people, right? It was a con.
It was a con.
Yeah.
So we definitely and again we saw that when they were at the park, and she was like, I'm not doing nothing dealing with drugs because I don't want to have nothing to do with what Marvin has anything to do with. But she's still doing illegal activity. She just ain't doing drugs.
Right, because she was doing the boosting and everything, and even in Power, we saw that she was setting up schemes and pulling licks, and it didn't have anything to do with drugs, and she was only stealing the lean for her girlfriend, because she wasn't even drinking any other lean.
Shout out to Daniel Harris, because even when he asked me that question, I said I think it got something to do with the last part where we saw Jukebox, running away from Nicole and the family and everything. And I think they kind of like changed the way I was like, her heart hurts, and when your heart, when your heart start hurting, your heart start hurting, you go through all these other type of, things. And he was like, what he said was, well, I think that Nicole is going to run away to try to see Jukebox, and then something's going to happen to Nicole while she's trying to see Jukebox, and then that's really going to flip the switch.
Yep. So shout out to Winifred and Daniel. Great questions, yo. Keep them coming.
Wonderful questions, man. And I hope everybody's listening. Drop those DMs. Drop those questions up under the comments. We're going to be posting something every other day. I'm going to try to get something out every day. Drop all that so we can get to your questions and we can give you our honest opinions.
Yeah. All right. So with that being said, I guess we'll go ahead and wrap up this week's show. So as always, you guys can reach us through our TSF Entertainment podcast DM through Instagram, or you can email us at info@tsfentertainment.com. You can find me on social media, Instagram, RETROCG.
You can find me on YouTube at REALLYBTV, and you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at REALLYBTV_ on YouTube.
Man, you can find me in the streets with Raquel Thomas. I'm out here getting it in. You hear me? You hear me? I'm in these streets. No, real talk, man. This is JACKOFJORDANS, man. You can reach me at djackson300.dj@gmail.com. You can find me there. I am going to get my Instagram back up and running real soon. I promise. TSF Entertainment. We on IG. You post anything there, I promise you I answer it. Whether it's some bullshit, whether it's some real shit, or whatever, you will get an answer from me. I guarantee you.
All right, so we'll see y'all next week. We don't get no break, so we'll see y'all next week for episode 6.
All
right. Holla, my red cup empty. I'm out of here.
Peace.
So if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app and go to Anchor FM to get started.
You are now listening to TSF Entertainment Podcast.